Hey there, Eagles fans and football lovers alike. Welcome back to your go-to source for all things Philadelphia Eagles. I'm your host, diving deep into the gridiron action with a passion that only Philly's faithful can bring. You know, with the leaves turning and that crisp fall air hitting, it means one thing. The NFL season is heating up, and so is the drama around the trade deadline. Picture this, November 4th is looming like a fourth-and-goal situation, and everyone's buzzing about what moves our mastermind GM Howie Roseman might pull off. But hold on, because today we're zeroing in on a potential deal that's got the league whispering. Could backup quarterback Sam Howell be on the move? It's got all the makings of a classic Eagles plot twist, and trust me, we'll break it down play by play. Let's start with the headline that's got Philly Nation on edge. Teams around the NFL have been ringing up the Eagles front office, sniffing around star wide receiver A.J. Brown. You know, the guy who's been lighting up defenses like fireworks on the 4th of July. But sources are saying that's a no-go for Howie Roseman. A.J. Brown. He's untouchable, a cornerstone of this offense alongside Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith, forming that dynamic trio that's terrorized secondaries since Brown joined in 2022. Remember that blockbuster trade from the Titans? Roseman swapped a first-rounder and a third for him, and Brown's repaid it with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, including 1,496 yards and 11 touchdowns in 22. No way Philly's letting go of that firepower, especially with the team eyeing another deep playoff run after their Super Bowl heartbreak in 2022 against the Chiefs. But here's where it gets juicy. While Brown's staying put, backup QB Sam Howell might just be packing his bags. According to NFL insider Ian Rappaport, the Cincinnati Bengals are circling like sharks, desperate to salvage their season after a brutal blow. Starting quarterback Joe Burrow hit the injured reserve list back in early September with a turf toe injury that needed surgery. Ouch, that's the kind of setback that can derail a contender. Burrow's been the Bengals' heartbeat since they drafted him first overall in 2020, leading them to a Super Bowl appearance in 2021 and racking up over 14,000 passing yards in his young career. Without him, Cincy's scrambling, and they've also put feelers out for Houston's Davis Mills and former Saints QB Derek Carr. But Howell? He could be the perfect fit, a young arm with starter experience, ready to step in and keep those Bengals playoff hopes alive. Now, let's zoom in on why this makes sense for the Eagles. Philly doesn't really need Sam Howell anymore, thanks to the rise of Tanner McKee. Rewind to before the season. McKee, our promising third stringer out of Stanford, tweaked his right thumb, forcing Roseman to wheel and deal. He flipped a 2026 fifth-round pick and a 2027 seventh to the Minnesota Vikings for Howell, getting a 2026 sixth back in the mix. Smart move at the time, right? But McKee's bounced back stronger than ever, proving he's a legitimate backup behind Jalen Hurts. McKee's got that poise. Remember his preseason flashes, completing over 70% of his passes with pinpoint accuracy? He's the kind of guy who could step in seamlessly if Hurts ever needs a breather, and with Hurts' dual-threat magic, rushing for over 600 yards last season while throwing for 3,858, the Eagles' QB room is stacked. Speaking of Howell, let's give this kid his due. The 24-year-old out of UNC Tar Heels has some real pedigree. In college, he lit up the ACC, throwing for over 10,000 yards and 92 touchdowns across 3 seasons, earning All-ACC honors. He entered the NFL as a fifth-round pick by the Washington Commanders in 2022, and boy, did he get thrown into the fire. In 2023, he started all 17 games for Washington, slinging it for 3,946 yards, 21 touchdowns, but yeah, those 21 interceptions stung, partly due to a leaky offensive line that sacked him a league-high 65 times. That's more pressures than a diamond mine. His completion rate sat at 63.4%, showing flashes of brilliance but also the growing pains of a young QB in a tough spot. Then, last year with the Seattle Seahawks as Geno Smith's backup, he saw limited action. Just 3 games, completing 5 of 14 passes for 24 yards and 1 pick. And since landing in Philly, zip, 0 regular season snaps. He's been riding the pine, learning from Hurts and the coaching staff under Nick Sirianni. But let's not forget the Eagles' rich history at quarterback. It's a position that's seen legends and heartbreaks. Think back to the glory days of Donovan McNabb, who led us to 5 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl appearance in 2004. Or Randall Cunningham, the ultimate dual-threat pioneer in the 80s and 90s, scrambling like no one else. And who could overlook Nick Foles' miracle run in 2017, capping it with that Philly special touchdown pass in Super Bowl 52 against the Patriots. That win, our first ever Lombardi trophy, was pure magic. Underdog vibes with Carson Wentz injured, Foles stepping up like a hero from a Rocky movie. Philly's always been about resilience, and Roseman's trade wizardry has kept us competitive. Remember how he flipped picks for stars like Jay Ajayi in 2017 or snagged Devonta Smith in the 2021 draft. The guy's a chess master, always 3 moves ahead. Tactically, trading Howell could free up cap space and net us some draft capital. Maybe another mid-round pick to bolster our defensive line, where we've got monsters like Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter wreaking havoc. Our defense, anchored by legends in spirit like Reggie White, the Minister of Defense himself, with 124 sacks in 8 seasons here, and Brian Dawkins, Weapon X, who patrolled the secondary with ferocity from '96 to '08. Today's squad echoes that toughness. Darius Slay locking down receivers, Josh Sweat pressuring QBs. But injuries have nipped at us. Think Saquon Barkley's integration after coming from the Giants, adding that thunder to our run game with 1,144 yards last season alone. Statistically, compare this to past Eagles backups. In 2022, Gardner Minshew filled in admirably when Hurts was hurt, going 1-to-1 with 663 yards and 4 TDs. Howell's got similar upside but hasn't gotten the chance here. If Roseman pulls the trigger, it could be for a conditional pick, say a 4th if Howell starts games for Cincy. Expert opinions? Well, imagine what our fictional analyst buddy, former Eagle great Seth Joyner, might say. Howie's not one to hold onto assets he doesn't need. Howell's talented, but with McKee ready, this is smart business. Turn a temporary fix into future gold. Or picture a chat with a die-hard fan at Lincoln Financial Field. Man, I'd hate to see Howell go without a shot, but if it means more ammo for Howie to crush the Cowboys? Fly Eagles fly all day. Looking ahead, this trade could ripple through the NFC East, our bloodbath of a division. The Cowboys, with Dak Prescott playing at MVP level. Yeah, Albert Breer nailed it. Dak's thrown for over 1,800 yards already this season, dissecting defenses like a surgeon. But we've owned them lately, winning 4 of the last 5 meetings, including that 41-7 thrashing in 2022. The Giants. Daniel Jones is scrambling, and the Commanders are rebuilding with Jaden Daniels flashing rookie magic. If we deal Howell, it strengthens our depth elsewhere, positioning us for a playoff push. Predictions. I see the Eagles finishing 12-5, clinching the East, with Hurts in MVP talks, over 4,000 total yards, easy. And for the Bengals, Howell could spark a turnaround, but without Burrow's elite arm, it's an uphill battle. But wait, there's more to love about this Eagles era, ties to pop culture, like Jason Kelce's retirement tour turning into a podcast empire with Brother Travis, or the "Fly Eagles Fly" chant echoing in movies like Silver Linings Playbook, capturing that Philly underdog spirit. Historic moments. The Snow Bowl in 2013, blanketing the Lions 34-20 in a blizzard, or the miracle at the Meadowlands back in '78. And current events. With hurricane relief efforts post-Helene, Eagles players like Lane Johnson stepping up for communities. True heart off the field. Alright, folks, that's the scoop on this potential Howell trade. Exciting times in Birdland. If you're as pumped as I am, make sure to catch our next game against the Browns this Sunday at the Link. Kickoff at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Wear your green, chant loud, and let's keep this momentum rolling. What do you think? Should Howie deal or hold? Drop your takes in the comments, subscribe for more Eagles intel, and remember, it's always sunny when the birds are flying high. Fly Eagles fly.